Hi, everybody. You tuned into Two Oceans Vibe, and I'm Susana Kennedy, and I'm very excited to have Tamsin Adnderson with me in studio today. Tamsin is one of the producers of Matwetwe, and it broke lots of box office expectations when it came out recently. And I think it's a very important film for many reasons, but I've asked Tamsin to come and join us to speak about the film, but also about a really tragic event that happened just recently. The lead actor was killed in a mugging, and this is a reality that is happening in South Africa way, way, way too often. And we need to step together and support his family in this difficult time. And I've heard that Stir Kinekor is doing something to assist in this process, and that's why I asked Tamsin to join us in studio so we can chat a little bit about the film, but also how you as the public can step in and help his family at this horrible, horrible time. Tamsin, how are you doing? Welcome to Two Oceans Vibe.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's obviously been an incredibly difficult past 10 days since this tragic event occurred. Last week was very difficult. And yeah, we are doing, at this point, we're kind of trying to do what we can to support and also to respect the family during this time. It must be just so terrible for them. Sir Kinekor has come up with an initiative to have screenings today and tomorrow, of which almost all of the proceeds are going to be going to the family, which is quite incredible and unprecedented,
Yes.
that, all of the kind of service providers along the way are just waiving their fees and sending the proceeds to the family. So we've been doing a lot of social media marketing drives just to let everybody know that this is what's happening. And yeah, it's just a very generous kind of a very generous motion on the part of Stir Kinekor to do this. So we're quite glad that this is happening and that it is something tangible that we can do to try and support in whatever way we can at this time. Yeah, it was such a tragic event. Matwetwe was such a success story and such a fantastic project to work on, and we had such an incredible time working with all of the cast members, and we were looking forward to working with Sbu in the future, and we'd really, we've all been blindsided by this event.
For those listeners who don't know what happened, I think it's important to just fill them in for a few reasons, Tam, because I think that this is something that happens all the time, sadly, and many times it just goes unnoticed, and something needs to be done about what is happening in our country, because it really is devastating. Will you fill the listeners in on what actually happened?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're right. It's kind of often, obviously, such an event wouldn't receive this type of media attention because the people involved wouldn't necessarily have the public profile that Sbu had as an actor. But yeah, he was waiting outside Sterland for an Uber, for a Taxify, which he'd called, and he was waiting there for the car to arrive, and basically his phone was stolen by some guys who just mugged him and then stabbed him, and he died right there on the streets. And I think it is just kind of emblematic of how dangerous our streets are at the moment, and that there was nothing that he did to provoke it. There was nothing that he could have done differently to prevent it. It wasn't late at night. It was after an 8 p.m. movie, so it was just after 10 p.m. And it's a very normal thing to do. You go to a movie and you call an Uber and you go home afterwards. So, there was nothing kind of unusual about the circumstances, and it should have been a safe space for him to be in, and it just wasn't. So I think that it's just like, it does really highlight that something needs to be done to make the streets safe for people to actually live in them.
Absolutely. And the fact that he was actually at his own screening also, I think, just hits a little bit harder. He had created something that I'm sure he must have been so proud of, and that his family and friends must have been so proud of. And he was sharing that with an audience and being there at the screening, which is it's such a great thing
Yeah.
as a performer to actually be at screenings so that your audience can connect with you personally. And for such a tragedy to happen then is just, it's just heartbreaking, Tam.
Yeah, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, he was at a screening with TUT students, and he's a TUT alumni. So he was going to watch it with them and to do like a Q&A afterwards with them. So it was kind of just unbelievably tragic, and just completely unbelievable in all ways. Actually, we're still kind of trying to wrap our heads around the fact that this has happened.
I'm sure, and I think it's going to take some time. I'm sure that all of you became very close. Working on a film, you spend so many hours together that it's inevitable that you become almost like a little family during the time. So I send my deepest.
Yeah. There's a definite, and I think with the other cast members.
Yes.
Thank you, Susana. Yeah, there definitely is, especially with the other cast members. There's a definite Matwetwe family, and the ripples of this event have kind of really spread through this entire extended Matwetwe family, and it's just, what can you say? It's kind of the worst thing.
It's just it really is, and it doesn't make sense. So you were saying that Ster-Kinekor is doing screenings, and people can support the family. When somebody dies, a lot of people don't realize it's not only the emotional tragedy that happens, but there's a financial implication with funerals and with all of these things that suddenly pop up that families need to deal with. So I think it's really take my hat off to Ster-Kinekor for stepping forward and offering to support in this way. You said that they are doing screenings. Is it at specific studios, at specific cinemas?
Yes, so they're doing screenings today and tomorrow, and it's in about 14 cinemas in and around the Gauteng area. So we've actually put up a graphic on our social media about which cinemas it will be in, and basically they're just going to have regular scheduled screenings, which one can buy regular tickets as you normally would when you go to Ster-Kinekor. Except in this case, instead of the ticket sale prices going, to all of the different parties that they would normally be broken up between, the proceeds are going to go to the family. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a fantastic initiative that they've taken upon themselves to do, and totally unprecedented. It's never really been done before, that I know of in this country. And it's just great because, as you say, it's the last thing that you need to worry about, or that you would want to be thinking about, is all the financial implications.
Yes.
When you're dealing with the emotional trauma and stress of bereavement. So I'm very happy that they're doing this, and that there is somewhere, and I think a lot of people have been touched by this tragedy, having seen Matwetwe and, really appreciated his performance in it, and kind of got to feel that they also knew him. There's a connection there, and I feel that if there's, if people do want to contribute to the family, then this is a great way of doing so. So we're very grateful to Ster-Kinekor because it's a fantastic and generous thought, and we hope that people support it and come out in their numbers.
I hope so too, and I will share all that information on my social media as well. I want to end the interview on a little bit of a high, because he really was part of creating a film that was, I think, so important in so many ways to South Africa. What was making the film like for you as a producer?
We loved making the film. It was a complete, it was one of those films where everybody gets completely kind of gives more than 100% to the actual production, and everybody was, it was it had its own momentum, should we say. And it was a film that we made over the December holidays a couple of years ago. We shot it in 8 days. It was super intense, and it was in the midst of summer.
The whole film in 8 days.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And we still managed to keep our days at 12-hour days and kind of give people turnaround time, which I'm very proud about. But yeah, it was very intensive, and it was a lot of fun, and it really became, a cast and crew that got very tightly knit over those 8 days, because we were all kind of pulling in towards the same end goal. And we had to plan things and kind of all be so on 100% of the time, because we had so little time. So it was a really sort of highly intense and a lot of fun to shoot.
Amazing. And you broke box office.
As the box office, which was something that...
Box office, to make, was it 8 million in your first week in cinema?
No, 2 million in the first week.
2 million.
But yeah, it kind of broke records, because we initially, the distributors and cinemas were like, okay, well, let's start off on a small amount of cinemas and see how we go. And we created a lot of word of mouth around the film, and we kind of managed to climb we opened on 15 cinemas and then went to 26 and then went to 39. So it was quite an unprecedented jump.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And we had a lot of support from, people like the city of Tshwane gave us some buses on the opening weekend, and we just had buses going backwards and forwards to Atteridgeville, where the film is set, from Atteridgeville to Stirland, and just kind of providing transport to people who wanted to buy tickets to go and see the movie on that opening weekend. And it became like quite a fun kind of phenomenon, that opening time. It was really, really something else.
Absolutely. It was, I was following all the buzz, and somebody did write that you made 8 million in the opening week, and I was like, wowzers, that's amazing. But 2 million in the first week for a film is incredible. In fact, for any film is incredible in South Africa. And what I really loved was it showed investors that South African films are worth investing in. It's for me, that was one of the really great things, because I think not enough money goes towards South African films, and they do make money, and they are watchable, and they are cool, and they are wanted and supported. And I think more so now than ever before, that is becoming very what is the right word? It's becoming very evident. That's the right word.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. And I think that it's quite I think the place where South African film often suffers is that we don't have enough money for marketing. So you compete against these international blockbusters who have millions and millions of dollars behind their marketing drive, and you come with a couple of $100,000 for all your publicity and marketing, and the tickets cost the same price as the cinema. So then, then audiences always say, oh, support local, go watch this. Which I get, and we should support local, but I also don't feel like audiences should feel like they're kind of guilt-tripped into watching it just because it's local. They should be going because it's fun and because they want to be entertained and they want to see a good movie. And I think that's often like the business of movies in South Africa often gets kind of curtailed by that we just need to, that's kind of the one area of weakness. We've got such strong stories. We've got such amazing creators and strong crew and incredible cast. And often it's just about actually getting that story out there, getting the film out there and having people know about it, and that's marketing spend. So that was what was so unusual about Matwetwe, is that we had, very little, virtually no marketing spend. And we decided, okay, well, let's use this to our advantage. And what we can do is create like strong word of mouth and start it small and create a sense of FOMO, that people who don't get to see it are missing out because it's only on 15 screens. But we really have to push that, and we have to use social media and all of these other means. And, it kind of worked, because it would really, the screens increased and increased from one week to the next, and there was that demand. So it kind of, like you say, it is emblematic. It shows you that the South African films are a viable business. If you get them out there and you get them into the cinemas, people will go and watch them. It's just about people knowing about them almost,
That's
you
it,
know?
getting people excited, letting them know that there's something to get excited about.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm quite excited about that, about the fact that it's becoming more of a viable business, and it's not, you know, for a long time it's seen just as kind of an indie thing and you never make your money back. And I think more and more we're moving into space now where South African film is becoming more and more recognized and viable at the box office, which is fantastic because that's what we need in order for it to be sustainable.
It's absolutely fantastic. What is coming up for you next, Tam?
Well, we're doing a series with Netflix called Queen Sono at the moment, and we're going into production on that in a couple of weeks. So that'll launch towards, I think, the beginning of next year, January 2020, and that's super exciting. That's like a spy drama series starring Pearl Tusi. So yeah, we're very excited about that and very focused on that. And we've got a couple of other films that are also in development and in kind of deep pre-production or sort of development prep almost. So we've got a few things on the burner at the moment. Talking of which, I actually have to go. I've got a meeting waiting for me in the boardroom.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much for your time, Tam. And also just sending you, your crew, your entire team so much love and support during this time, and also to the families affected by this awful incident. I'm going to carry on talking, Tam, but you can log off and I will chat to you later. I'll give you a call later.
Okay, fantastic. Right. Thank you so much, Susana.
Okay, lots of love. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
For all my listeners who are listening at the moment, I'm going to be buying 2 of you tickets to, so that will be 4 tickets to go and watch Matwetwe. I'm going to run the competition on social media. All you need to do is the usual to enter the competition. You need to tag 3 friends, like and share the post so that we can spread the word about what is happening at the moment, that Ster-Kinekor is coming to the party in such a wonderful and warm, supportive way. I really think that it's fantastic, and I take my hat off to Ster-Kinekor for the support that they are giving the family. I will put those details up on social media in just a few minutes, and I will be back just after this, so don't go anywhere.